Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to In the Metro. I am your host. As soon as we get the overlay off, there we go. I'm your host, Chuck, as most of you know. Over here to my left is Miss Kim Pearson. Tonight, we're welcoming Mr. Nick Raftopoulos, candidate for state representative here in our area. We have Engineer Bill and Miss Rebecca joining us also. It's
hello,
kind of a
everyone.
packed house, huh?
Yeah.
So how was you? I guess I'll say where we're coming from, right?
Yeah,
I tend
absolutely.
to forget that. Yeah, we're coming to you live here from Studio B here in downtown Granite City. You can find us right in front of Studio C and right behind Garden Gate Tea Room. So it's kind of starting to look a little nicer in here with the cameras that we're getting that are coming in.
Turning into a little professional studio here.
I know you don't look like a Smurf anymore, which
Yeah,
is kind of awesome.
Kind of sad about that.
You're sad about not looking like a Smurf.
I could change that.
No, that's okay.
Do you have a Smurfette thing or something like that?
Well, Papa Smurf is kind of cute.
Papa Smurf?
Yeah.
Of course he is. He's got a nice full beard.
Right?
You got to love guys with beards.
Exactly.
So how's your weekend been?
It was great. Sweeney Todd at the Alfresco just knocked out of the ballpark every evening. Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon, standing ovations. The kind of comments that I heard over this has just been professional. And the reviews that have been out on Facebook.
Yeah.
They've really been good too. One lady said that she would put it up against anything she saw at the Fox.
Nice.
Now, I mean, that's big time.
That is a good
The
compliment.
voices, the choreo, everything. It was just perfect. If you haven't seen it, you still have 3 shows to catch. I wouldn't wait till Sunday. Those sell out very fast. Has a VIP section, which was really neat.
How'd that go?
Sold out all 3 nights. Very cool. If you know anything about Sweeney Todd, there's a little something in there about pies. The Mrs. Lovett's Pie Shop.
Meat pies.
Meat pies. And the VIP experience has a little VIP experience about that. So you get a little something extra being up there.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have performed with several people that are in that cast, including my daughter. So go see the show. Including my daughter. There you go.
Hold on. Do I switch? Here we go.
Go ahead and switch her. She's looking like
Actually, I
Smurfette
like
again.
that right there. It's good right there. I feel like I'm in a nightclub.
Yeah. No, we didn't bring a new camera in here for her to look like a Smurf again.
well, I mean, we could just pick a color.
No, it's alien.
Is
Go
she
back
green?
to the nightclub.
Is she green with envy? Nice.
Okay, I'm done now.
What about amber? You have amber?
Now you're making me get color combinations. Come on.
Amber is the color of your energy. Anyway.
Or some girl you used to know?
No.
No
No.
ambers?
No ambers in my life. Nope, nothing like that.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, what I was saying is about the cast over there. I performed with a couple of them, and I've seen almost all of them perform before. And the caliber of actors and actresses that are on that stage it's awesome. I mean, it's very high up there. I think Devin, from what I've seen of the rehearsals, Devin's done a great job, and John's done a great job of
Yes.
the musical direction. I mean, that guy is talented. Let me tell you.
All the way around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but no, I'll be going there with Miss Rebecca on Saturday. We're going to go up there and catch my daughter in the show. And so it's funny because she was telling me she's not in many of the scenes. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, if you're in one scene, I'm going to support you.
Oh,
So yeah. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about going there this coming up weekend. Yeah. Nick, what'd you do this weekend? Anything fun?
Every Saturday we have my in-laws over and we watch. Have you guys heard of Svengoolie on MeTV?
Yeah.
We watch that every Saturday. So,
All right.
my wife's mother-in-law, Karen, she always cooks dinner for us, and
Oh, how nice.
we watch Svengoolie
All right.
every
cool.
Saturday.
Awesome. So my weekend was, I mean, for the most part, it was work filled. Sunday afternoon, I did get to spend time with Miss Rebecca, which I always love doing, and got to spend some time also. Got to fly a kite this weekend. That was kind of cool. Kind of cool to do. So very, very fun stuff going on, here in the area. So folks, we're going to just kind of fix a camera issue we got here real quick. The next camera to get replaced here soon. Well, you said you got another one, right?
Yeah,
all right.
It's coming.
All right. Awesome. Folks, you guys are going to be watching In the Metro with matched cameras. I mean, how freaking cool is that?
It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
It's going to be awesome. So we're not going to spend too much time this week talking about, what our weekend consisted of, because we kind of want to get into it. We're in the election season now. And one of the primary reasons that the 62040 exists is to get the word out there about elections, candidates, and things like that. So I'm really hoping that, you take an opportunity to share this if you're watching now, and hopefully if you're watching in the near future. Election day is March 19th, correct?
Right.
Okay, so make sure you guys get out there and vote. I'm going to say that now. I'll say it again. I'll probably say it a couple other times also. But the upcoming elections are very important, particularly with our guest this evening, Mr. Nick Raftopoulos. We're just going to call you Nick, going throughout the show or whatever. But he has agreed to take questions as well during the broadcast today. So if you don't mind, guys, you can always pop those questions down here into the chat box, and we will make sure to get those to Nick so he can answer those. The whole point of having candidates on is we really only have one rule. We want to know why we should vote for you. We don't care why we shouldn't vote for somebody else. We want you to tout yourself, toot your own horn, blow your own bugle, however you want to, say it, whatever. But we really want to get information directly to you guys. And, we have an opportunity to use our platform here to bring the candidates to you and answer any questions you might have. So with that being said, Nick, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks for
Welcome,
having
Nick.
me.
Absolutely. And I
Happy
guess
to be here.
we can start off just by tell us, I guess, a little bit about your roots, give us a little bit of your background, and then kind of lead into your party affiliation, and then what brought you to that party, and just tell us about, your candidacy.
Okay. So lifelong Granite City resident, graduated from the high school in 2012, ran cross country while I was there, and attended SWIC for my associates, graduated from there, and then I went to SIUE, got a political science and history degree from there. I've always had a passion for public service. When I was in college, I went down to New Orleans during spring break, and I helped rebuild houses for Hurricane Katrina victims.
Nice.
I did that for 2 spring breaks. And then after I graduated from college, I served on a couple of nonprofits. The Good Samaritan House, I was on there for about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
And then rebuilt. Are you guys familiar with the Good Samaritan House?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Rebuilding Together was another one that I was on. That's an organization that helps people with particularly like military veterans or lower income people. They help with like home repairs or helping with wheelchair ramps.
Okay. And what was the name of that organization again?
Rebuilding Together.
Okay.
So I was a member of that for about a year and a half too.
That's neat.
Yeah. And then I was in the Rotary Club for about 3 or 4 years. Served as the president for that during COVID. So that was a interesting time. There wasn't, a lot of
not a whole lot of
meetups and
going on. Yeah.
So it was interesting to juggle that responsibility during that time.
Okay.
And then currently I serve on the board of trustees at SWIC. I've been on there for 5 years. I was just reelected last year. And then I was elected the chairman of that board in 2021.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's been a very good experience too. It's been nice to be able to interact with the students and the faculty, make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful there. So
Very cool.
I love that we have a community college in our
I
city.
do too.
Yeah.
I really do.
I was the last graduating class from North.
Okay.
And then the very next year it was Belleville Area College.
Right.
Yeah.
GAC.
And that's where I went to school at. And then it switched over to SWIC. I don't care what they call it. I'm just so glad it's there.
Me too.
You know?
When I went there for my 2 years, it was like a family kind of, it was a nice, close-knit atmosphere there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got involved in some clubs while I was there, going down to New Orleans.
Nice.
That's when I was at SWIC. So, it gave me an opportunity to experience the world differently and give back.
What I really liked about it, pretty much, and I'm not sure if this is when it first opened up or if they kind of got there a little bit. And I'm not sure if they do that now or not, but they used to have a daycare in there also. So if someone who needed to go to school but didn't have daycare, like it opened that up. And I'm not sure if they charged for that or not, but just the fact that it was there, you could literally take your children, where you try to get a higher education, you can take your children to school with you, drop them off at daycare, do your classes, pick them up on your way out or whatever. I mean, because
and those that were watching the children were in child care development,
right,
getting their degree as an internship there. We kind of did the same thing when it was our high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think I remember that. Yeah, I remember. And I mean, that's really, in my opinion, that's kind of how the education system should work. I mean, if you can have different industries come together or whatever for the betterment of the whole community, I think that's really good. If you can work it that way. Now, that's not the way it works all the time, but if you can do that, I think that's a really great way to go.
Yeah. I don't know when they got rid of that. It was before I got on the board. It's probably been about 10 years, but we have talked about bringing that back. And, as you guys know, community college is, there's a lot of non-traditional students that go there. It's, single moms or single dads.
Right.
And, a lot of them can't afford to pay for childcare or anything like that. So it would be beneficial if they did have childcare there whenever they, have their classes.
Yeah, I think it's great. So political science, that's kind of what you studied, right?
Yep. Political science and history.
So have you always been involved or had an interest in politics? Like as a younger kid, did you follow the guys growing up? Like, where were your influences from?
So, actually, the first thing I wanted to be was a director. I was really obsessed with movies and stuff.
Okay.
And then my grandma was a very big influence on me and getting involved in stuff. She wasn't involved in politics, but she watched the news all the time. She watched the debates, the election results. She read a lot, and I would go over to her house on the weekends and we'd talk about, current events and things like that. So she's really my role model for wanting to be in public service. She was a very terrific person. She was a single mom in the 60s, raised 3 kids on her own. Just a terrific woman.
Nice.
So she was definitely my influence.
Okay. Now, were you in debate in high school and college?
I was only in cross country.
Okay. I ran track for 2 years, I think. I couldn't do the long run stuff, so I was mainly sprints, hurdles, things like that. Definitely not a distance runner. I've never been like.
Did you do debate or speech?
I did not. I did theater. So my senior year, I did theater.
Just a real quick little plug about debate, though, and speech. I just read this in the last couple of days. Our high school is in need of farmer students.
Yeah, I saw Amy's post.
Yeah, it's really important. Farmer students that were involved with the speech, the debate, something else that's called too. There's like 3 things involved. They really need judges. Like, it's a pivoted moment that this might not keep going if we don't have somebody coming back and giving back. So if you're out there and you love speech and you love debate and whatever the other third thing is.
Yeah. Do you know what the other one is? Engineer Bill? No.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, me either. I mean, we could look up Amy's post at some point and look at it. But anyway, let's get back to you. Let's talk a little bit about state representative. This is it's a big responsibility.
Yes.
So
yes, it is.
What has encouraged you or what has motivated you to run for state representative, and what changes do you think or do you feel need to be changed on that level.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said before, I'm very passionate about public service, and I saw a leadership need in the district. And one of the things that I think that we need to improve on is communication. Communication is really big. I've spoken to several mayors that are in the district, and a lot of them say that there's a disconnect between the state rep and the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a big, one of the big roles of a state rep is they need to talk to these community leaders, see what they need for their community, whether it be, more money for roads, more money for new businesses and things like that. So I think the other thing that we need somebody who's going to advocate for stronger unions. The Workers' Rights Amendment that was passed 2 years ago, that gives the ability for someone to start a union and a collective bargain so that they have better benefits and better protection so they don't get injured on the job. So one of the things that I would advocate for would be to have stronger protections for our union workers. I think we need a paid vacation time, guaranteed paid vacation time. They just passed the paid sick leave act, which I think was really good, because a lot of jobs don't automatically offer paid leave to their employees. And I think it's very important that you have that.
How do you feel about the paternity leave? So there are some states now that are, granting paternity leave. I mean, you have maternity leave for, moms to take time off to, recover, because childbirth is not anything easy. So I've heard. I mean, I've never, experienced it myself.
That's why Dad needs to stay at work. That's why Dad needs to stay at work.
Well, the thought is paid paternity leave, unless you're talking about Dad just wanting getting busy in the evening, when it's, a little too soon. But what do you think about paid paternity leave? And is that something you support or don't?
I do support that. I think it's important in the early months of a child to have both of the parents there. And I think it's good for the parents to be able to spend that time with their child. So I don't see any problem with having paid paternity leave or paid maternity leave. That would be something that I would advocate for.
Okay. I just know something that people have been, talking about, because there are a couple of states that have passed it.
Yeah.
My company already does it.
Your company does do it? Okay.
I'm not for it.
You're not for it?
No.
Well, don't stop there.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't be like, I just don't like it.
I don't like it.
What are you, 80 years old? I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. I also don't like the new thing the governor passed about 40 hours a week of guarantee, or a year of guaranteed time off. No, I guess if it's a big corporation, big box, I don't know, but small businesses, they can't afford that. They just can't afford it. And really, does Dad need to stay home?
Depends on how bad Mom's pregnancy was. My wife's pregnancies were exceptionally difficult, and she had C-sections for them. So yeah, Dad did need to stay home, and Dad burned vacation days to do it.
Yeah, I think you're not going to find a whole lot of support here against that.
Okay.
It's even
I'm
the
old
40-hour work week thing.
No, Dad probably needs to even pick up an evening job. We got Pampers to buy now.
Well, I will say this. So it's important though to hear from someone who disagrees with it, because I say I'll support it and all that, but it's also important to hear the other side of the issue as well.
Small businesses can't afford all of this. They just can't. You can't afford to have somebody off work for that amount of time and still need to pay someone else.
Well, think about this, and I'll leave you with this thought. Okay, can a small business afford for employee burnout, though?
Yeah.
Employees get burned out, especially if you're a full-time person working for a small business, and they're not allowed vacation time. They're not allotted any time to go off and take some time off. There's mental health stuff that sometimes you have to take care of.
Oh my God, we've been so soft.
Huh?
We were just so soft.
No. Now think about it for a minute. And Nick, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take away from your time, I promise. But if you think about this for a minute, 40 hours a week, 1 week out of 52 weeks is not a whole lot to let your employees take some time off and be with their family, go visit out-of-state family, and just kind of get away from the
That's
day-to-day
called
grind.
vacation.
But you spend more time at work than you spend with your family.
Yeah.
I mean, think
Yeah,
about
because
that.
your family don't pay you to be there.
No, but it's important. Anyway, this is something we can just kind of get into.
Go ahead, Mr. Bill. I know
another
you
time,
want
but-
to.
I got
Yeah.
nothing to say.
You got
I mean,
something to say.
I just think it's important that we have those safety nets for people because, studies show that if someone is happy at work, they're going to be more productive.
Yeah.
If
I
you don't
agree.
give people vacation time, you don't give people paid sick leave, they're not going to be functional at work.
Yeah. So I'll
You
tell
know?
you, I had a boss I used to hate. I'm not kidding. If this man was on fire, I wouldn't piss on him to put it out.
Oh my gosh.
That's how much I hated this guy, right? But he made a comment during one of our meetings that I was actually like, wow, you actually said something intelligent. And his comment was, money is only a temporary solution to a permanent problem.
Mm.
People do not work just to get paid. We have to work, first of all, we're built to work, okay? Secondly, we have to work to provide for ourselves, 100%. But if you are pushing and pushing and pushing your employees, I don't care how much time or how much money you give them, eventually they're going to be like, I've had enough.
Mhm.
And if they don't get to the point where I've had enough, their body gets to a point where the body says, I've had enough. You're going to sit your happy ass down for a little bit, whether it's going to be in a bed or whatever, So I really do think that there is a lot to the paid time off because you can't just give someone time off and expect them to still pay their bills. Corporations rely on employees to get the work done and to get the jobs done. And you have to keep your employees happy. It costs more money to train a new employee than it does, to keep a happy employee or to give them a week off or 2 or 3 days off, here and there. I feel a lot more companies are seeing that and a lot more companies are realizing that to the point. It used to be you had to work for a company for a year before you would get any time off. To a point, a lot of employers now are like, we're going to hire you in and we're going to give you 5 days off, just during your first year. Just, take it. And if you leave before then, they just take the money back out of your check, which is fine, which I think is a pretty good incentive on that. I do think it's important on those things. So good point. I appreciate you and being in support of that. I think that's awesome because it is very important to me anyway.
Mhm.
So.
Well, I mean, we can also talk about, so I talk a lot about unions in my campaign. And if you look at the last 40 years when unions have been threatened and they've been attacked, income levels have gone down. My generation, we're going to make less than our parents' generation. And it's because I feel it's because we don't have as many unions anymore. Because when you have a union, you have power and you have strength, you have benefits, and you're respected at work. You have protections at work. You don't have people, dying at work like they were 100 years ago. You had people that were dying from going to work, losing limbs. And then we had protections in place during the New Deal. And then in the 80s, they started to get rolled back. So I think we need to look at unions too and union jobs. We need to have more union jobs, I think.
I can agree on that. Absolutely.
On union thing. It's
Yeah.
funny that we disagree on things like this because you might find it interesting that I'm not a huge union supporter. And again, it boils down to the workforce and it boils down to, for me, just for me, it boils down to the workforce. It boils down to OSHA standards and it boils down to what companies want to represent. The safety stuff, I agree 100%. You need to feel safe where you work at. Now,
Right.
there are some jobs that just aren't safe. Being a lineman, if you're up there 40 feet in the air hanging from a line, it's just not safe. And you can have all the hooks and things that you want and ropes, but if something's not buckled right, it's still a dangerous job. But my thoughts on bargaining power, I think is the proper term for it, with unions and that, I guess I think that a company will eventually get it where they won't. If you're forced to do something by a bargaining group, okay. But if you have employees that are leaving all the time or you're getting sued all the time because you don't have proper safety standards at work, I feel eventually the company's going to get it or they're going to go out of business. I used to be a member of a union years ago. The company I worked for completely ignored the union rules to the point that I was greedy over a dime. Not kidding. I was 21 years old. I was supposed to be getting paid a dime more an hour. And the company was like, yeah, we're not going to do it. Our new contract's about up. And they had ignored this for like 2 or 3 years, right? The new contract's about to hear, so we'll figure all that out then. I was greedy, right? So I called my union rep when I went home that morning. The next day, went in and worked. The union was there. The sheriff was there. The lawyers are there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff there. And the company lost like almost $250,000 in back dimes that they owed people from working there that they didn't pay. That company learned not to do it anymore. Now, I will agree that the union had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, you know, if you can't run your business properly or whatever, I think eventually you're going to learn. If you don't learn, shame on you, you know, but people aren't going to work for you. So I guess on one hand, I can see maybe some benefit to a union, but as a whole, I think with all the laws and stuff that have been acted and things like that.
I like the idea of a union.
That may be a better
strong
way to put it.
union.
Yeah.
I think
do like that
without a union, there's no negotiation. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm your CEO, I'm the boss, and I say
Yeah.
the pay is $12.50 an hour, and you'll get a raise in the next 3 years if you're
Mhm.
good, and I get to determine what means you're good or you're not good.
Yeah.
And if the profits don't look the way that I think they should look, then you don't get a raise.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
just suck it up, Buttercup. And you only get 2 weeks of vacation for the entirety of your career, because that's what I said. So as a CEO, and you're just one person, what are you going to do? Walk out the door because you keep yapping at me? That's where you're going. Like,
Yeah.
they're that important
Mhm.
for that. But on the flip side of that too, the ridiculousness of some union negotiations, which have cost the cost of products to go through the roof.
Mhm.
And you see stupid things like you'll go through certain like union installations, and I won't call out anybody, but you know, the walls can only be painted or touched up to a certain level because that's all that a union custodian can do. They can't go any higher. We're not getting a ladder out. Like, all these stupid little rules cost extra and cause things to lag behind because you can't do that as the union. You know,
Yeah.
that's not my job. That's so-and-so's job. And I don't want to do that because, well, you know, I might be taking his job. Like, those kind of little intricacies, it's a little silly, and we need to back off of those type of things. But for the negotiation power, absolutely. And the anti-retaliation and the union sitting in on disciplinary hearings and things like that, it's absolutely imperative, because without them, you're alone. If I don't like you and there's no union,
Mhm.
I can make you leave for no reason. And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
about
I mean, great point. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I mean, and Nick, this is what I like about our show is that, you know, sometimes when we don't agree on things or whatever, we can still have respectful
Oh, yeah.
conversations, you know?
Yeah.
So no, I mean, I think it's awesome that, you know, you see the importance in that, you see the value in that. So that's something that you support, you know, in your campaign. What other aspects are you looking to either maybe change or bring to the table when you're sitting in the big room in Springfield?
So, again, I got to bring it back to, you know, communication. I think the most important thing, you know, if I'm elected as a state rep, is
Mhm.
being in contact with the leaders. You know, when I've been knocking on doors, I've heard from a lot of different people with a lot of different viewpoints.
Mhm.
But I think we need communication. So the thing that I would do if I'm elected, one of the first things I would do is I would hold town hall meetings in every single city. I would have people, you know, residents come voice their concerns, you know, let me know what you think needs to happen in Springfield. I'm your voice in Springfield. That's what my job is. I'm your voice. I don't think I should go in there with an agenda. I think I should go in there to be the voice of, you know, the people, the 111th district.
So let's talk about something. And I'll bring it up next week also when your opponent is on here. It's a real hot topic right now. We don't have to dig too deep into it or whatever, but a lot of times it falls under the guise of civil rights and fair treatment. You know, back in the 60s, you know, it was about African Americans, their civil rights and things like that, or the Black community, their civil rights. There's a big push right now in transgender rights. There's a big push right now. And, you know, I think same-sex marriage is going to become the law of the land. You know, like, is it already on the federal level? Or
Yeah,
is it still state to state?
they just passed a bill, I think last year that.
Okay. So where do you stand on that? And I guess give some reasoning on that. And again, it's the same question will come up next week. I just think it's really important for people in the area that you represent, just kind of know where you stand on that.
So in terms of LGBTQ plus rights, I definitely am for gay marriage. I worked on the Illinois Unites for Marriage campaign back in 2013 for Illinois. And then, I definitely am supportive of transgender rights as well. I think that everyone's voice matters. I don't think anybody should be discriminated against. Everybody's equal. And I just don't think that we should attack one group over another group. I don't think we should pit one group over another group as well. I mean, I think we're all in this world together. And I think we should do everything that we can to make sure that everybody feels safe. There's been over the last couple of years, there's been a spike in violence towards LGBTQ plus people. And I just don't think that's right. I think that everyone should be able to feel safe in their communities. So I would always support.
Do you feel it's a big problem in Illinois or a big concern in Illinois as far as discrimination against either orientation or preferred genders or anything like that?
I mean, I think it's a bigger problem in the United States as a whole. But I mean, of course, there's issues in Illinois, just like there's issues in Missouri or Indiana. It doesn't, there's always going to be problems. But I think the most important thing as a state rep is you need to make sure that everyone's voice is heard.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus, African American, Asian, Hispanic, everybody's voice should be heard.
Well, as a representative candidate, I'm sure you're keeping a close watch on the Edwardsville High School bathroom conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
No big surprise here. I want it kept separate. I just think it needs to be. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think we should have, a female and a male bathroom and a family bathroom too.
Okay.
I think that will solve the issue.
Kind of meeting all three needs there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But
awesome.
with them, it's kind of an either or, right? We're at now with the Edwardsville situation is that it's either going to be left as it is, or it's all going to be a mix of a room of closets.
So I was in Kansas City, actually. Let me just speak on this real quick because I'm in Kansas City, and their new airport, they included all gender bathrooms.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It felt to me, now I'm a straight man, you know what I mean? But it felt to me that I was okay with that, actually, because all the stalls were closets, top to bottom. No one was getting in. No one saw anything. There was no way to identify who was in there or anything like that. And then when you came out, it was just a line of sinks.
That's the part I don't like.
You just washed your hands.
Actually, I really love that because not only does it take care of the issue, but it also takes care of a lot of architectural extras that have to be done for male and female, and family restroom with baby changing stations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you just have closets, like a door, I go in and I close the door and I'm in my own little world. Not only is that closer to what we get made fun of all the time as a country of having non-private restrooms, because you can look between the cracks and if you really want to and all that stuff. If you have your own little private thing, there's nothing anybody can see. You get done, you walk out. It's a communal wash station. You shouldn't be doing anything outside of a stall anyway. And if you are, you're a weirdo.
Only two things you should be doing inside the stall.
Right. So, there's no worry about that. Like, listen, if I go into like a truck stop bathroom where they do have those closing doors, that's so much nicer. I don't have to go in there and worry about creepers coming in or any weird stuff like that. To me, that's totally fine. And to me, if you did something communal like that, then it doesn't have to be so closed off. So the thought of a school policing people doing inappropriate things in a bathroom, I'm talking like smoking and doing drugs and stuff like that. Like you can literally look into the space and you're not violating anybody's rights, because whatever they're going to do, you know, number one, number two is going to be behind that closed door anyway. Then there's no opportunity to smoke weed or hit a vape or whatever you're doing in a bathroom space where it's just the community sink where everybody can come out, because there's no privacy there.
Yeah. So, all right, awesome. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We always give candidates an opportunity to give your 30-second stump speech or whatever, So your camera is actually right there. So,
Okay.
Yep. So if you want to take a chance, just not a chance, but an opportunity to just kind of talk to the people, that you're, hoping will put their support behind you as well. Have at it, my friend.
Yeah. So I think I'm qualified to be a state rep because of the experiences that I've had on serving on different nonprofit boards, helping with the community. I think also I'd be a good state rep because I want to support and strengthen unions. I think people should have more protections at their jobs. I think they should have more vacation time, sick time. I think another thing that I would bring to the table is I'd be a better communicator between the different city leaders. And I do my best to make sure that everyone feels like their voice is being heard and that no one's going to be left out.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice way to sum it all up.
Yeah.
Very well said.
And I love that you're a hometown guy.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, we've been overlooked as a town by our leaders. And I think that needs to change.
All right.
Granite City has a lot of power.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by. We
Yeah.
definitely appreciate it. And we're going to, we got two Nicks tonight.
Got two Nicks.
It's like what Nick squared, not square Nicks, but Nick squared, So I'm pretty excited about that. Nick, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
by. Good luck in your race.
I think you're going to win on the 19th, though.
I think so too.
I gotcha. Unopposed elections, you got to love those.
Yeah, well,
if you just show up and vote for yourself, you got it.
pretty much. And you definitely got to do that, because I think we've all learned that when it comes down to one or two votes, it can definitely make a difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Florida showed us that several years ago. So
Hello, Nick.
how you doing, my friend?
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right?
Good to see everybody.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was okay. Okay. What did I do? Nothing. But yeah, it was a good one.
That can be
I didn't have
great
to work.
weekends,
I don't
man.
work weekends, so I work. I don't. I only work 4 days a week. I work 4 10-hour days. So
Oh, that's nice.
I
Nice
love it.
schedule.
I
Yeah.
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, how about Robert Downey Jr. winning
Oh my
the
gosh, that was
Oscar
pretty
last
awesome.
night?
He's
For
kind of
me-
been cleaning up. Have you been watching the other award shows?
Oh yeah, the SAG Awards and
Yeah,
the Golden
BAFTA.
Globes.
I mean, he's been
and-
cleaning up. Yeah.
I have I really like, I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of Robert Downey for like years since he's been around, really.
Yeah.
And when I was going through drugs and stuff, and he was going through that too.
Yeah.
And I would always kind of root for him and hear about him getting arrested or this or that. And then I was like, God, man, come on, stay in the game, stay in the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then
What a
last
comeback,
night,
though,
man,
man.
last night, triumph of the human spirit. There is
Yeah,
nothing
what a
stronger.
comeback. Have
Yeah.
you seen Less Than Zero?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
what
when
a
I
great
started.
movie.
That's when I knew.
Yeah.
When I saw that movie, I'm like, he's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
People are going to start taking him serious now.
You ever
Is he
seen
a-
any of his dad's movies?
No, I
No?
never have. I should.
Check them out.
They're a
They're
little crazy, like
pretty
John Waters
interesting.
kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His dad was a really interesting cat for sure. I mean, he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Check
a
out.
there's a documentary called Senior about his father.
Okay.
Yeah, who passed recently. But yeah, I will. So yeah, man.
All right. Awesome.
Did anybody else watch the Oscars or anything?
No, I never watched the actual award shows. I'll
Yeah.
either, I watch clips, things
Mhm.
like that. It's just, I've got better things to do than watch to
Oh,
dedicate
okay.
that much time. I
Oh,
did know that
all
they
right.
started them earlier this year.
Did they?
Yeah, it started an hour earlier than they typically do.
So I have no life, and yes, I watch.
Oh, did you? Oh, well, I always enjoy
And
it.
I
It's
do too.
You know,
Yeah, I like having the conversations afterwards, and just the things that you catch during it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally enjoy.
I
the
like
award
that one
shows.
more than like the Grammys or the MTV Awards. It has more class, I think. You know,
I love the Tonys.
there's
That's
no
kind of my
there's
favorite
nobody
thing.
there's no like Satan worship in the
No.
house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
You guys got to chat amongst yourself. Vic, I'm going to reframe you here just a second,
Oh, okay.
so we can. That way you don't look like a munchkin in the camera.
I had an idea that Oppenheimer was going to clean up, and I didn't. What's her Emma Stone? I was surprised about that.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
surprised. I was expecting the actress in the Scorsese movie
Flowers
Killers of
of
the
the Killer
Flower
Moon.
Moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of you see that or?
I've not seen it yet. It's
haven't
actually on
seen
my list because, first of all, I love Scorsese.
Oh yeah.
I actually really like Leonardo DiCaprio. That was good. And who else is in that? That was he's been around a lot. Anyway, but no, I do want to see that movie. I think it's really good. I actually over the throughout the week I watched Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I need to see that again. I was
Yeah.
not. I did not give that a fair shot when I saw it. But what'd you think? You like it?
I loved it. Like,
The
I've
end,
seen it a couple
let's not
times.
give away the end. But
Yeah, I know, right?
have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh man,
It's a good movie.
yeah.
It's actually one of his more tame movies.
I'm telling you this: the end is worth the what is it, 2.5 hours or something? It's a long
like
one.
2.5, 3 hours.
Man, the end, and you. I'm not saying anything else.
You've watched it several times.
I've watched it at least twice. I like Quentin Tarantino's movies anyway. There are a couple that I wasn't a big fan of. Kill Bill 1 and 2 I thought was pretty good.
I thought those were just masterpieces.
Yeah,
I loved those movies.
I wasn't a big fan of Dusk to Dawn.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch that. But I did watch it. I just wasn't a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I wasn't really.
But yeah, those three movies are Reservoir Dogs. Don't even get me started. What a great movie! Like, have you seen it, Bill?
It's hard to watch though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. But and whatever he had to do with, like, he had his hand in Natural Born Killers, and he had I think he wrote the story for True Romance.
Okay,
True Romance is one of my favorite movies of the 90s. Love that one.
Very underrated movie. Like, it's one of those that kind of slipped under the radar.
It's something that people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People that have seen it, they talk about classic scenes from it and stuff.
Yeah. There's Christian Slater and Dennis Hopper, right? I forget who the female
among
lead
other
was
people,
in it.
the Patricia Arquette.
Okay,
Yeah.
So great movie.
So and before I stop talking about movies, did you see Oppenheimer? Anyone see Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I did watch it. I rented it.
Okay.
Did we watch it together?
Now let me just kind of dive into the conspiracy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you didn't watch it?
I rented it and I watched it kind of while in the background while I was doing some other stuff. I didn't give it the fair shot, so I don't really have anything positive or negative to say about it. I mean, I've read some reviews. I mean, it was a long movie. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
But yeah,
there's this storyline in the movie which surprised me, and it's about how this woman that he fell in love with, that was in love with him, and they had like an affair, and it was pretty tragic what happened. So I don't want to get into it, but like it really surprised me, and I think it was put into the movie to kind of show the human side of him and everything, which I think other things did that too, but there was more like humanity in it than just the nuts and bolts explosions and military and politics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but let me go here now. I knew the movie was going to win because for some reason, and here I go, like the Illuminati, they want everybody thinking about atomic bombs. I'm telling you, I told you about the movie, A Boy and His Dog.
Yeah.
You watch that movie, the first thing you see is a mushroom cloud, and it says America or 2024. Okay. Let's see. There's some other things. Atomic City. It's a U2 song, and that's Asteroid City. And then U2 did a song called Atomic City.
Okay.
And there's some like atomic bomb lyrics in it. It's weird, man. When everybody's talking about something like zombies, you know what I mean? There's going to be it's not going to happen yet. Like maybe another 5 years, you're going to start seeing people that think they're zombies or that there's some kind of disease or something like that. And in maybe another 5 years, there's going to be an atomic bomb.
Who's got their phone on?
There's an alarm.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
So anyway, that's what I think when you see an atomic bomb. I told you so. But let's talk about the Pentagon. The Pentagon released their report on ufology. Do you know about this?
I don't.
Guess
I don't
what?
either.
This is a big shocker.
Okay.
They said they found nothing.
What?
8 months ago, they had hearings where this guy comes forward and he's talking about, it talks about crash retrievals and crash retrieval teams.
Yeah, and biological recovery.
And biologics in the craft that was crashed. Like, what are you talking? And then it's like, it's of alien origin. Okay, so were they aliens? No, they were biological. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and he talked to somebody that talked to somebody else. Nobody, remember we've talked about it, how nobody that's really seen it is out there, is on TV talking about it. It's all, so now what they've done is nope, there's nothing to it. It's like, well, who are these people?
Right.
So they're lying about crash retrieval teams. You don't have a team that retrieves, downed craft that you don't know what they are, and there's biologic material you don't. That's all a lie. You know what I'm saying? These teams don't exist either.
Well, there were ex-military guys that were, and I believe there was like maybe 1 or 2 active military guys that when they were asked directly about biological recovery and about things like that, I believe the exact response was, "I'm not at liberty to talk about that."
Oh yeah, that was answered a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the ladies who was asking the questions was like, "Well, after this hearing behind closed doors, can you answer those questions?" "Yes, ma'am." And it's like, seriously, the answer is either no or it's I can't talk about it.
Yeah, and so
and I can't talk about it leads to, oh yeah, we got some stuff back here that's we can't tell everybody about.
And okay, so there's nothing to it. These people are lying. Are they in trouble now? You know what I mean? Our heads gonna roll. Who's making up this
distraction?
Yeah, who's just? I mean, it's just who's. I think they want us to talk about it, but they're not. I think really they just want us to talk about it. They want to talk. They want us to talk about it more. They knew that when they put this out saying that there was nothing, that we'd get angry and that we would talk about it even more and look even harder and whatever. They're just playing games. They're playing games with us.
So the report that came out was just pretty much
nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. Move along.
Yes,
right?
and in relation to 8 months ago, these hearings and stuff, they said like, oh, basically that was just somebody like repeating somebody else that was repeating somebody else and
hearsay in legal speak.
Yeah. So word salads and stuff. We're used to those these days. So yeah, man.
That's crazy. Maybe they just picked up heads of lettuce at the biological recovery, or who knows?
I want to learn remote viewing. I really do. I really think I'm gaining psychic abilities.
No?
Don't turn your dial or anything, but I really do. I really do, man. It's weird. I'll be having coffee in the morning, something will be on my mind, and I'll just be like, now why am I thinking about? I'm trying to pay attention to it now.
Mm-hmm.
And something else something that I'm thinking about will happen later on in the day. I'm like, okay, this is too weird.
Well, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
On here about how the military used to use, seers,
right,
remote viewers, to just kind of, hone in on, and there's got to be something to it.
But remote viewing is that you can learn how to do it. We can learn, you know what I'm saying? I believe it is in our ability, but it's something that's been suppressed for, millennia, but I think maybe the people that lived at, oh God, come on, man. Not now. It sunk. Atlantis. Yeah. I think the people that lived in Atlantis, they probably were psychic and they could probably levitate and do all kinds of stuff,
So let me ask you this, because Atlantis is always kind of like, what's the word I want to look for? Intrigued me, fascinated, intrigued, or something like that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I fully believe. So I believe, let me tell you how I believe. Okay. You guys have heard of Pangea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe that at one point it was all connected, Like I believe in the Pangaean continent, right?
Certainly looks like that.
I mean, if you look at the coast, I mean, a lot of times they could all fit in. I believe that during the biblical flood is when it all broke apart. That's at the point it was all separated. And I'm kind of to the point where I could believe that Atlantis existed during that time. And when the continents broke apart is when Atlantis, sunk. So much of the ocean that we haven't explored or anything like that. And they have found that they found iron beams, I-beams, okay, in ancient, like before the Iron Age. Like they have found places in archaeological digs that support that. I'm a big believer in the plausibility that technology before the flood was way beyond anything we have right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was lost during that time. And I think it's at the bottom of the ocean. And I think that if those people saw the way that we live now, that we would be the primitive people.
Right.
I mean, because there's so much archaeological stuff.
The pyramids, man.
Yeah. Pyramids,
the statues at Pumapunku.
Yeah.
There's too much that have proven the pyramids were power structures.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the one pyramid, it may be Giza or something like that, but there used to be, like, it's flat at the top, but there used to be what they feel like was a metallic structure at the top. And if you look at, I was watching something the other day that was talking about the structure of the pyramids over in Egypt and the structure of the pyramids in like Mexico and all those other places. They're way too similar, way too similar. And you talk about, Egyptian leaders. I mean, some of these guys are saying lived to be ruled for thousands of years, and when you look at that, you think that I'm going to get really tinfoil hat here on you guys. Okay. But you talk about these people living thousands of years. Well, you think no human being can live that long, right? Well, I've started studying a book with Jesse over at the church I go to that actually talks about ancient gods. Like it qualifies ancient little g gods. And it even talks about in the Bible where the number one God addresses these little g gods. And it's really interesting, just the few things I read about. And so I do think that, prior to the flood, this was an extremely connected world, an extremely technologically advanced world also. And and I think that some of that maybe we went to the stars eons ago,
but back then, that's amazing.
I mean, maybe
just
we
to
went
think
to
about
the stars
that. Wow.
Eons ago, and maybe the UFOs that are here are, because we know if you have half a brain in your head, that there's extraterrestrial life out there. The universe as a whole, I'm not talking about our galaxy. I'm talking about the entire universe.
The whole deal.
Yeah. It's just, it is too big for us to be it.
Right.
Period.
We're so small, we almost don't exist.
Yeah. I mean, we're literally like a molecule on the head of a pen.
But look at us under a microscope and look what's going on. There's a lot going on. We do matter. We're not just I mean, I know you're not saying that we are. I'm just
no, not at all. I mean, I mean, I do believe that our lives matter as a whole.
Yeah.
I believe that we're a wisp in the wind. As far as time goes, and I don't know. I think that my belief is that it's plausible that before the flood, that's why everything was wiped out, and like you said, Rebecca, kind of reset.
Yeah.
Because
so separate from God,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to be.
Hold on, they want to hear what you have to
No,
say.
I just feel trying to be better than God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, when you look at the Tower of Babel, I mean, we were trying to build our way up to God. I mean, that was a huge technological thing right there.
Yeah.
I just can't. If you read the account of the flood and you read the Bible, we were wiped out because we were all assholes down here for the most part. I mean, we were beyond help at that point, so to speak. So God's like, all right, you're gone.
Well,
There's a couple of people over here.
I think it's raining outside.
Yes, that's a great way. That's a great way to say it, because there's no way that we're not
getting close to that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That'd be fine with me if like the bomb did drop or if we all went out together. I hate goodbyes. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I don't mean to be all heavy. No. Oh my God, Kim. Kim's like, no, I'd rather me and my whole family go out together than, you know, go to funeral after funeral. You know.
Yeah.
So I wonder if anybody's ever like done any remote viewing on like Atlantis, because people have remote viewed other planets, the dark side of the moon and things like that. Actually, I was reading, I might have been talking about this. I told you about the one guy that he remote viewed this base that was under a mountain.
Yeah.
We recently talked about
we
this.
talked
Yes,
about that
we
thing
did.
last time you were on.
And then he's seeing like aliens in that he's thinking it's like, okay, it's a military structure under a mountain. And then he sees aliens and he's like, oh, and then he's seeing human beings working alongside the aliens. And he's like, he goes, I don't think I'm supposed to be seeing this. And then there was another case where this guy is remote viewing the dark side of the moon, a structure on the dark side of the moon, and they are aware that he's viewing them.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like he's like, I'm at a window, you know what I mean? He goes, and they turned around and they noticed him. And then the people that are conducting it are saying, get out, you know, come back.
Yeah.
You know, you guys all have to read this stuff. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Even if not every remote viewing session is accurate, it's still really exciting to read about.
Have you attempted
The
it
CIA.
yet?
Pardon?
Have you attempted it yet?
I need some help. I don't know how to go about it.
No, I'm
There's like little experiments that I've done. Like you can have your friend like write down some coordinates. You know what I mean? Like I'll just say Roswell, and you know, you give me the coordinates to Roswell. You put them in an envelope. You don't tell me what they are, and I sit there with that envelope. I can't see anything except the envelope, and I just concentrate. That's what you do. You concentrate on that, and then you'll start to see things, and you just start talking about what's in your mind. You know, a field, trees. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, and then the person that knows what the target is, they will determine if you know, can really see it or not. Yeah.
Huh.
And I would imagine, well,
That's disappointing.
this is on the CIA website, by the way, that they, you know, there's information about this on the CIA website. It's the real deal, you know. So yeah,
what are your thoughts on the?
I want to,
Go ahead, please.
No, I want to really learn it now and check out Atlantis.
What are your thoughts on the new craft that landed on the moon recently? And when it landed, it fell over. I mean, that's not what I'm really concerned about. I mean, things are going to fall over, I guess, when you're traveling that far and, you know, doing stuff remote. But what are your thoughts?
Doing moon things.
Doing moon things, you know. But what are your thoughts on this new lunar exploration? And like, you know, I haven't seen any pictures that they've sent back yet or whatever, but what are your thoughts about us going, some will say back to the moon, some will say,
okay, yeah,
just going to the moon, you know?
You know, I think it's really interesting that when Obama was president, he was asked about this and he said, we can't get back there. God, maybe it wasn't. It was during his presidency, and he might have said this. Somebody said, and he kind of paraphrased it. We had that technology, but we don't have that technology anymore. I think we might have repeated that.
Yeah, I
on
think
this
we
show.
talked that. Yeah.
And it's like, well, what do you mean? You had it in the 60s, you don't have it now, and you know, and there's that kind of goes along with a theory that perhaps that technology was alien, technology, and the reason why they faked we got to the moon, but the reason why they faked the footage is fake. It's Hollywood studio. Okay. The reason why they did that, even though they went there, is because they couldn't show you how they got there, because they would be revealing the alien technology. And this technology, if we had this technology, we wouldn't be dependent on fossil fuels. You know what I mean? And that would be very disruptive. So that was, you know, the 60s. Okay, we couldn't show them that. No, we don't have that. Maybe we do have it now. You know what I mean? Maybe we needed a few more years, and maybe we do have it now.
I think a lot of that comes down to the manufacturing process. I mean, you liken that to like, hey, yeah, cool. We've got, you know, this Westinghouse refrigerator from the 1950s. But if I asked you to go get me one right now, brand new, where are you going to get it from? Nobody makes them.
That's a good point.
You know,
You know
we've
what I
got
mean?
this
Yeah.
incredibly complex engine that we built that was custom made for NASA. I want another one. Okay,
Yeah.
who makes it? Well, that company doesn't even exist anymore.
Right. Or
So I need somebody to make it. Okay, well, we have to start from scratch. Yeah, we've got blueprints, but did we, you know, like, listen, people are bad at keeping records.
yeah,
And I'm
Jeffrey
just
spilled
playing-
his coffee on that
Well,
page.
yeah, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but like, you know, just like if you had to look at like a Rolls-Royce engine for a 747, we got that. Blueprints done. They're still
Right.
building them. They've been tweaking them. You can see all the revisions, but like this space race was so
Very unique.
quick.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, no, this isn't going to work. We need to tweak this by blah, blah, blah. Just get it done. Okay, well, like the final product, where are the blueprints?
Yeah.
You know, and the blueprints that you redo, are those even the final product?
Right.
You know, so like, again, you can't go ask somebody right now, hey, I want you to just, you know, I want a brand new 1954 Westinghouse fridge right now. Okay, well, how's it built? We could take it apart and reverse engineer it, but that's what we'd have to do.
Yeah, but some of those parts might not even be available anymore because of some of the part makers. Yeah. So no, that kind of makes sense.
So there's another theory that, oh, we could have always got back up there, but we need permission. And there's our space brothers are up there saying, no, you're not coming up here right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. That's just a theory. It's nothing really to, you know, back it up. It's just what people talk about.
They want all that cheese to themselves.
There was back in the maybe about 10 years ago, there was this talk about the big superpowers trying to get back up there to mine for helium-3.
Yeah.
It's a big big deal.
Yeah, it's super powerful. From what I've read about it, the helium-3 is that like a fistful of it, you know, is enough to power like a city of our size for at least a year. I mean, it's crazy the energy resource that could be.
Speaking of that, energy resource, did any of you follow along like when CERN was going to turn on their particle accelerator? Do you know about? No? Okay, it's too.
There was something that came.
I can't
heard
even
about
get
it.
into it, but it was, yeah, boy, I will stumble to trying to find the God particle. And they said when there were people saying when they turn this thing on, it could be the end of us. That could be it. And that they're trying to recreate the moment of the Big Bang. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, nothing happened. Yeah. Yes. And you know what was the weirdest thing about it is that before they did this, they had this ceremony. They spent $8 million on this ceremony. Look that one up. It's so dark. Like the people, the dancers, and these costumes and stuff. It looked really dark and occultic, and you know what I mean, like occultish. And it's like, what is it? What does this have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like they spent $8 million on this. Yeah, on this parade. It was.
Okay. I did read an article the other day. I mean, if we're talking kind of sciencey right now, I did read. This was probably about a month ago, that scientists were able to send a particle of light back in time. Like, did you read that, Bill?
Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh wow, I missed that.
Yeah, like I mean, because light is minute as it is, but it actually has substance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but they were talking about they were able to send this particle of light back in
photon.
time.
Yep.
What's that?
Single photon.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was crazy. So I mean, there's all kinds of
I think
stuff out there, but
I think that we're about to stumble upon things that we can't even fathom. I think AI is going to help with that a lot. I also think that we sit here and we think that we're like at the apex of technology, but of course they thought the same way. back before we understood what even UV light was.
Yeah.
And we think that we've discovered everything, so much so that all the major communications companies, anytime that there's a little slice of the spectrum, are out there, tearing it up like freaking rabid animals trying to buy it.
Right.
Because there's such a finite amount of it that you have to, if you're going to move forward, you're going to implement new technologies and stuff. But I think there's a lot out there that we have not discovered yet, and that there will probably be discoveries, considering what AI has already discovered. There will probably be discoveries within the next 5 to 10 years that are going to make all of that rat race that we did just not even relevant at all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Where do you fall on the AI thing?
Oh, I think that we're not even done. This has moved along faster than any technology that we've implemented or discovered before. And it's funny because AI, in a sense, because everybody thinks of AI as like this is this new thing that they just found or something, but AI, in a sense, has been around for a long time. You teach a machine to do a task, it repeats the task.
Right.
We're just giving it to dumb it down as far as you can. What OpenAI has done is they've taken all of the knowledge that they can gather, and they've trained the machine to give responses based off of said knowledge.
Yeah.
And the better the response, the better it is. But I mean, to the point where, like, when I say all of the knowledge, like, people who are in my line of work were, blown away that you could be like, hey, go give me some HTML code for a simple web page. And it's like, oh, here you are. And it's perfect.
Did it scare you at all?
It's yes and no, because, my objective now is just to become the guy that asks the AI what to do and then cleans up the code and puts it out there. Like, that's where you're going to have to be. There's not going to be, in the foreseeable future in my lifetime, it's not going to be impressive if you know how to, write Java or code in C++ or anything like that, because, okay, cool, the AI can do that too. But on the flip side, I think that people are going to take that new tool that basically now you could write your entire web page all cool and everything like that with zero experience and not have to go learn any of this stuff. Or in the interim, before it becomes completely perfect at doing it, you at least can get that starting point. Like, hey, I don't know a thing about writing, CSS code to make my web pages all pretty and everything like that. But I can ask ChatGPT to write it for me, and I can tweak it, and I can learn CSS through that, or Java or PHP or whatever you're using for your thing. And I think what we're going to see is just an astronomical amount of developments throughout that. And then with AI, the more horsepower we throw behind it, and all these companies are just chomping at the bit to get to this, we're going to see some incredibly major developments. Some of it probably disheartening and dangerous too. But again, like I've said in previous episodes, you cannot put regulation behind it. You cannot slow it down, because if you do, somebody else is not going to, and then you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
For sure, China is not going to regulate what can and can't be done with AI, or they're going to for the general public, but not for the government. And we're going to be sitting here and get caught with our pants down because we're like, oh no, it's not ethical. Okay, well, you're screwed, because
they're still cloning people too. Not people, but animals, so for sure. Nick, what are your thoughts on AI?
I think AI art it just sucks.
Sucks.
I don't want to see any AI art. I can't stand it. It doesn't belong in existence.
Funny thing about AI art, let me tell you something. One of the hardest things for an artist to draw is hands.
Yeah, it's hard for AI too.
It's very difficult
they
for
like,
AI also. Yeah, they got little nubs at the end of their arms and teeth. But it's one of the hardest things. I find it interesting that one of the hardest things for a human to draw is hands, and AI has the same issue.
Wow.
Yep, that's absolutely true. But it's funny you say something about that with the AI art. It's gotten a lot better. Beforehand, when you would generate images, you would see words that didn't even make, just gibberish and stuff. And now that they've corrected a lot of that, they're getting better with the hands. And now with Sora, which OpenAI just released, the video is astronomically better.
Yeah.
And so much so that one of the biggest things that I've heard in just the general chat about it is that folks that go out and do freelance work for B-roll footage and just stock footage and stuff like that are out of a job. And from what I've seen from just phase 1 of this Sora development that they've kind of released for beta testing, yeah, that's true, because I can tell it exactly what I want, and I'm going to get exactly what I want. And it's way more than accurate enough for B-roll footage.
Yeah.
And whereas, and you've done this too, Chuck, with putting together video and needing B-roll, you're like, oh, I want, a picture of an old couple in a park and it's springtime and blah, and you find something that's close enough.
Yeah.
Well, in the case of something like Sora, you find something that's exactly what you told it you wanted. Yeah. I want 4 dogs to be out there playing around and an old couple sitting on a bench, and it's noon on a Sunday, and this is so scary that it's like it's noon on a Sunday, December 5th of 1965. Well, it's going to go and look where the orbital position of the Earth was in December of 1965 on that Sunday, and it's going to be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Like, those are the type of things that we're looking at. The faces are crazy. I mean, it looks great. And this is just iteration number 1.
It's amazing. It's impressive and amazing and everything. I just don't like the art. Yeah. And I'm scared of it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like a wild animal. It's like a wild animal, you know. But I don't know a lot about it, so we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, what's going to happen?
It's not going anywhere.
No. The bomb drops and we all go
together.
And we're going together,
That's okay. You can just ask ChatGPT how to make a bunker that will make you survive the bomb.
See?
It's in the mountainside where the aliens are helping the military build stuff.
I'll just remote view it.
If something like that does happen and we all go at once, I'm going to be pissed. All those years I've watched Survivor.
You're going to be crispy is what you're going to be.
Damn.
There's a reason during...
What are you going to do here?
I don't know.
Listen, there's a reason during the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that stuff that bunker sales went up and people put them in their backyards, and they're still around. I mean, I watch YouTube videos of people finding them all the time.
Wow, man.
And like, people got really serious with that. And
have you seen Blast from the Past?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
It's
got Brendan
bell.
Fraser, Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah,
pretty good. Awesome. Well, I know you got to blow out here, pretty close. So we're actually going to, do you have anything going on for the weekend besides Sweeney Todd?
Sweeney Todd. Also, I believe this is the weekend for Mr. Twist Spring Customer Appreciation Week.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday, so check Facebook on that. That's about it.
All right. Anything else going on that we should alert those that are in the metro about?
In the metro.
All right. Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure having our show. I love doing this. Like, I really do. Like, this is just, it's a Monday night kind of like, release. We get together, we talk and everything, so it's really nice to do. I love all of you guys that are in here.
Aww.
So,
and we love the hockey guys.
Yeah, we love the hockey guys. Catch those Thursday at 7:15 here in Studio B. If you guys get a chance, support small business, come down here in the district area. And, there's several restaurants down here as well. And we don't really necessarily have to talk about it, but what's going on with Kamara's? Do you know? Are they open? Are they closed? Are they pop up?
They were open the other day.
Well, thank you. And we'll see you all next week.
All right. There you have it. Next week, 7:15. Thanks a lot, guys.